Well, what I'll be talking about is a bit unconventional, perhaps uninteresting, but it's about biobanking in Africa. Still, we need to know if religious beliefs and witchcraft could create an ethical bottleneck in biobanking issues as it relates to Africa. It's not a study, it's not research work, it's just a question. Well, in the European Journal of Human Genetics in 2014, they published data on factors influencing public participation in biobanking, and top on the list was religious permission. 70% of participants in that study would, would base their decision to participate on religious permission. A further study asked, do you personally believe in witchcraft in Africa? 18,000 respondents, 18 countries in Africa. Some of the countries believed in witchcraft. Some people there in the countries believed in 95%. In Ivory Coast, for instance. The lowest was Uganda, 15%. Now, the maps that we're seeing out there, the deeper the colors, the higher the propensity. So the deeper, the closer to 100%. The lighter colors closer to zero. Trust, witchcraft. If you look at the two maps, the higher the witchcraft, the less the trust. So that tells us what witchcraft and trust will do to our biobanking. Perhaps that's why a minister here decided to introduce BSc in witchcraft into the education system. Zambia followed closely with a $340,000 funding to also set up degree program to train students in witchcraft. Yes, so it's a reality in Africa. There's a lot we can learn from witchcraft. Yes, perhaps we can fly in their baskets. I imagine that when we fly, we eradicate traffic jams, and we'll probably would not need to buy fuels. I didn't say so. This was credited to a minister in 2016. And the fear is real. In Zulu mythology, there is the Tokoloshes. Everything is the Tokoloshe. Tokoloshe could take your life overnight, could suck your blood, could kill you, could make you do things you don't want to do. So much so that taxpayers' money were used to fund cops to actually hunt Tokoloshes. In another climb, in a study that Clement Adabamowa and his team tried to do on the impact of religion on biobanking in Africa, respondents had things like this to say, my concern is that they may use the biobank for something that will not please God, for example, occultism. A pharmacist said something similar to that if it doesn't harmonize with my beliefs, I will not participate in the biobanking. Opinions on things like afterbirth, that's the placenta. There are traditions in Africa that believe that a child's life, the destiny of a child is tied to the placenta. So when a child is born, what happens to the placenta is made to determine, people have fears that the placenta, which is a biobank sample in some cases, would actually lead to problems. But let's not forget that the history of medicine is actually an uninterrupted journey from witchcraft in some climes hundreds of years ago to what we have currently. Today in Africa, we still have people go to witch doctors. We have people go to traditional healers. Fairies, witchcraft, and healing charms are real in Africa, in many communities. And that's how folk medicine and the supernatural have been entwined for so many years amongst the people. But it's not just in Africa. In many parts of the world, it's the same thing. In Europe, in the Americas, in the 1600s and the 1700s, women who were deemed to be witches were hunted down and persecuted. But these were women who were wise, smart, and intelligent. They were able to cure people who were sick. They were able to understand science to a level that most were incapable of, because they could do what many others didn't understand. So, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, how do we engage the traditional healers for biobanking research? How do we inculcate religious beliefs in our biobanking policies? Because they are real around here. How can we assure donors that evil witches, bloodsuckers, tokoloshes, and so on will not come and take away our samples in the biobanks? In order to build unflinching trust and help researchers, organizations, and everyone in effective data sharing, we need in-depth knowledge of beliefs and practices. We need to dialogue with religious leaders, traditional healers. We need community mobilization and engagements across board. And we need education on all the factors that would relate to the biobanks. According to Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. We can't take that away from them. Whether the belief that witchcraft is real or not is inconsequential at this point, in light of the fact that millions of Africans believe that it exists and live their lives in that reality. Thank you.